Hey guys, welcome to the Week 10 recap. Um, and it's been quite a fantastically low-scoring week. I think all the people that had any tight end other than Travis Kelce weren't happy. And
You can say that again.
running generally didn't do all that well either. I think Jerick McKinnon was one of the best running backs on the week, and he had just a decent game. Basically the game you kind of hoped for with Jerick McKinnon, but all of your main starters really shat the bed for the most part.
Yeah. Unless you were Boomer and you had Alvin Kamara get 35 points.
Yeah, he's just unstoppable.
And apparently taking all of the passes away from the newly returned Michael Thomas, who got 4 points.
Yep.
Safest pick in fantasy, everybody. Remember when they said that in week 1?
Yeah. Well, I think it also had to do with Drew Brees. He's fucked up now. So maybe he was off a lot more. But who knows? With Jameis Winston gunslinging it down the field, maybe Michael Thomas does a bit better, although he normally plays shorter slot routes. But who knows?
It's a weird year. Nothing's normal.
Yeah. Nothing's normal. From the perspective of the weekly report, we can see a number of funny, fantastic things occurring. One of which is me beating the best manager of the week by like 35 points. So, Nick, I don't know what's going up with your team, man, but you tried. You really tried your best. And
all right, but on the flip side of that, you're saying you don't know what's wrong with Nick's teams. Let's talk about me, Keely, and Rick this week. Because Scott, being fairly consistent, has won worst manager yet again. But Scott had 141.5 points versus me, who had 115, almost 116. Rick, who had 112, almost 113. And Keely, who had 111, almost 112. Just kind of really seeing how low we can set the bar all in this week, and still did not get worst manager, meaning we were doing not the best we could have, given the fact that Nick got that, but clearly not the worst we could have done. What the hell?
Yep. Yeah, it's baffling how Scott manages to almost win or win while maintaining a poor performance. It makes you wonder, if he did better, how well would he be doing right now?
Exactly. I mean, it's almost a scary thought of like, how good would Scott's team be doing if he ended up having just better luck with who he played and who he didn't every week. Yeah. Not to mention the couple weeks when he wasn't here and still managed to win a game, and be keeping the same record as me and better than Keely.
Speaking of playing players every week, the big quarterback conundrum, Rocco now has gone from having no quarterbacks to potentially 4 starting quarterbacks. And you're over here trading for Andy Dalton, who's coming off the injury.
Yeah. After I picked up, what's his name, Gilbert, in case Andy Dalton wasn't coming back. Garrett Gilbert, yeah. It's a crazy world we're in right now.
It certainly is, and it doesn't seem like it.
I'm sitting there with my team, having Jimmy G and the Dak Prescott, who's now on my IR since one of my defensive players finally came off IR this weekend, so I could fill that spot up instead of just having being in a bench spot. Plus Nick Foles and Mullins, who are now Nick Foles might be going on to IR, or at least is out for probably at least a week or two because he got injured this weekend or yesterday. It's just an interesting time to have to do anything with a QB.
Yeah, I remember last year when it was like the season of backup quarterbacks, and it almost seems like it's this year too. Maybe this is going to be a continuing thing for
This one's the
the
season of backups and sometimes even third-string quarterbacks, and then the starter comes back, but then leaves again because he got hurt. In the case of like Sam Darnold and stuff, like it's this one's just it's QB wild card year, not just the backups, because then the backups are getting hurt or getting replaced by the third stringers because they're not doing good enough. I mean, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely brutal, and it doesn't. There's no end in sight. But we are over halfway through the season. On another note, it does look like there's no COVID games this week. Really, each week we hear about a player or
Yeah.
someone on some staff, some team shuts down, but then they go to the next level of protocols, and it's almost routine at this point. So
yeah, it seems to be more COVID players out more than COVID games. They seem to have kind of gotten their shit together, and they've gotten a system to be like, any reporting, we get isolating really quick, and that way it doesn't spread. We figure out who had contact, and we can still show up to play as a team, even though we might be missing some personnel.
yeah, and it's been really good for fantasy in the fact that we get the games when we expect to, right?
Yeah.
We only had that week where it was really odd.
Yeah.
And you get most of the players out there. So
exactly.
If that changes, we'll let you know. But I don't got much more else.
A feel for Tim and his lack of IDP options going into this week. I've been there with you. I've been in a similar situation where I've had to use some waiver pickups in order to play IDP players who have then turned out to be good, and then also gotten added to my IR. And then I've had to drop other people to try and pick up quarterbacks, and it's a mess. And I know your pain.
Yeah. On that note, it is going into week 11, so I should point out trade deadline is week 13, so end of week 13, no more trades allowed. Keep that in mind going forward, making trades. I know in one of my other leagues, my trade deadline is this week, so I got to get some boots on the ground and try to make some moves before the playoffs start.
All righty. But
everybody,
have a good week, and good luck out there, because we all need it, except for Rich, I think, because he's just doing fantastic throughout all this.